July 25th, 2025. We are faced with a brutal reality. The weaponization of starvation in Gaza. Not by Israel, even though the world thinks that's the case, but by Hamas. Cogat, C-O-G-A-T, which is the Israeli organization responsible for coordinating and facilitating humanitarian aid in Gaza, wrote today that contrary to popular narratives, there is no limit on the number of humanitarian aid trucks that we allow into Gaza. The real bottleneck lies, they say, with the United Nations and other international organizations, whose collection of aid from the crossings dropped sharply over the past month. Only after significant pressure did the UN and international organizations resume collection. Just over the past 2 days, because of that pressure, over 270 trucks filled with aid were collected from Israel and allowed into Gaza by the UN and international organizations. But we must all ask the United Nations, where have you been and why are you blaming Israel? The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, an American organization actively getting aid to the Palestinians despite violence directed at them from Hamas, including, didn't get reported, a missile that was launched at them by Hamas at an aid center, including the incitement and chaos at aid centers provoked by Hamas. They posted about an hour or so ago today that more than 92 million meals were distributed in Gaza today at one aid site, and nearly 1.5 million meals were delivered at another meal site. Do you hear the numbers? You're not reading that in the press. I'm taking it from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation directly from their site. And there were no incidents. And yesterday, 520,000 meals were served at one site, and 1,666,200 were served at the site in Khan Yunis. It's huge. Delivering humanitarian aid in a war zone, they say, is no small order. But with more than 92 million meals delivered today, we have proven it is possible through determination, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to the people of Gaza to carry out our humanitarian mission to feed as many of the Palestinians in Gaza as possible. We must always continue to overcome adversity, adapting to changing needs on the ground, and create innovative solutions that improve our operational efficiency. We have always said that we cannot do this alone. And this is why we have called on the United Nations, see the theme? To let us help deliver food to the desperate families in Gaza, which they're not doing. And just before we left, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation put out notice to the world that they have offered to transport for free all the aid that the UN is holding up. It's not getting reported. But the GHF, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, said, we will take care of it. At the end of the day, they said, it's about empathy. It's about helping people in need, and we're trying to help the Gazan people get food. We're asking the global community, including the United Nations, to be empathetic as well and to work with us to create solutions to feed the Palestinians in Gaza. And this comes from the interim executive director of GHF, John Acree. But the fact is, Hamas wants the conditions for civilians under their control to deteriorate because the world has already bought the propaganda. And more they're turning on Israel because they bought the Hamas narrative, which places all the blame on the Jewish state. If you saw the Sun Sentinel headline 2 days ago, it said, Israel blockading food from Gaza. That is a flat-out lie, but it's being published in our local paper. It's what's being bought. They're buying word and reports from the Gaza Health Ministry. The Gaza Health Ministry is run by Hamas. And Hamas is erasing their monstrous actions from the media. And Hamas knows that many across the globe are just waiting to turn on the Jewish state and punish the Jewish state. And so they want to get images of starving Gazans, of chaos of food centers. Get word out that no food is being delivered, even though it is. And Hamas is winning this PR campaign. As I said, our own Sun Sentinel has fallen for it, along with papers across the planet. Tonight, as we say the Hashkiveinu on page 81, our prayer asking God for protection and strength, I want us to continue to hold the Jewish state in our thoughts and prayers, as we always do, as it continues to wage its defensive war and the propaganda in the press fuels the fans of hate that threaten Israel and threaten each of us. And I also want to hold the people of Gaza in our prayers. I've said it all along, that they are the victims of Hamas as well. And I know that this might be uncomfortable for some of us. And I know that the world doesn't understand that the people of Gaza are victims of Hamas. But we need to. And despite our anger and our fear, we need to have compassion for those being starved for photo ops. While the people who are doing the starving, the terrorists, enjoy plenty of food in their tunnels, of course denying the hostages down there in the tunnels with them any of that food. So tonight, as we say the Hashkiveinu, let's also keep the hostages and their families in our prayers.